What up guys, Kevin Yee, the Farm D. Have you ever been curious about starting your own fitness coach business? Well, today I have a special guest. You guys might know him from the Barbell Brigade channel. I have Serro Park. He's my true homie. We've known each other for years, but this is the first time I got a chance to sit down and talk with him. In today's podcast, we talk about how to position yourself as a fitness coach when there's tons of other coaches in the field. We talk about why he left Barbell Brigade, and we talk about why the hell did he get married so young. No lie, we even talked about Korean dads. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this video. I know I did. Enjoy. Not gonna lie. Okay, testing.
Check, 1, 2.
Cool. All right, 3, 2, oh shit. 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Perfect. Today, I have a very special guest. I have the one and only Coach Serro.
Woo!
Is my camera on?
I don't know. You just got the show going on the road.
All right, so I got the one and only Coach Serro today. Dude, Serro, you've been one of those people that have really changed my life in the last year, man. And it's so funny, like when we first talked, we used to talk a lot when I first met you at Barbell and stuff, but then we sort of stopped talking, and then you came back in my life, man.
Yeah. I remember I met Kevin when you first moved from the East Coast to LA, and you just kind of came in with like this funky energy. Not funky, but like just like mysterious, just like, hey dude, what's up? I'm Kevin. I'm like super cool. What? You're a pharmacist? What? I wouldn't even have known. But we connected a lot. I think that's gonna be about 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I can't believe it's been 4 years since I've actually like moved out here. And I remember when I first met you, you wanted to be like a police officer or something, right? Yeah. How did you go from like wanting to be a police officer to actually wanting to be a coach full time?
That's a good question. I think, and I'm being honest, like I'm Korean, like I think stability has kind of been like the core like value, like kind of like ingrained in me growing up.
Yeah.
And so I just thought like, oh, well, it's a government job. It seems pretty chill. I like guns.
Yeah.
But I've always chased stability. And I think just working at Barbell Brigade for a few years, the owners at the time were extremely entrepreneurial. Like they're very creative. Yeah. And they really created a lifestyle that really fit for them. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like I don't have to do what the world is telling me to do or my Asian parents. And so little by little, coaching was just something I started on the side because at the time I had gone through like this crazy weight loss, and a lot of my friends naturally just asked, hey dude, like what did you do? And I didn't feel like charging them because I didn't feel like I was experienced enough. So I just took them on as free clients, and I just started coaching them one by one. And then I realized, oh shit, like I'm actually good at this. I like this. Yeah. Maybe I should do this full time.
Yeah. That's very inspirational, because I think like what I'm hearing was that you want to do like some sort of government job because it was stable. And it makes me think about myself, because I wanted to be a public health officer for a long time, work for government and stuff. And then just like you, how you were in an environment at Barbell where they were so entrepreneurial. Yeah. I was living with Joe, and he was influencing me, telling me like, hey, you should read this book, Start With Why. You should read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all those like beginner books and stuff. And really to create a life that is more catered to you. It's almost like a choose your own adventure type of book. Yeah. Like you just took something that people were already asking you, and you created a full service out of it, which was awesome. Yeah. How did you go from that, like when you're trying to create a service for yourself, or create a service for your clients, how did you build that confidence? Because you initially thought that you weren't good enough, you weren't experienced enough. How did you go from, free service to paid service?
That's a good question. I think, just, I don't know, the best way to explain it is, I kind of got, I think appropriately frustrated with, how much I was investing into people. So, like, I don't know, if you're a coach, doesn't matter who you are, they'll kind of ask, or someone will ask, hey, like I have a question about this, and this. And naturally it'll flow into conversation of like, hey, like, Sarah, could you coach me? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? You know, I'm coaching like 3 friends. They're doing really great.
Yeah.
And so I've had so many people sign on with me, and they want to receive coaching verbally, but when it comes to actions and like following up, they never did. And I just kind of thought, you know what, like, I think the best way to, you know, protect myself, but also keep the other person invested is actually through a form of payment. And so I did it. I first started off with the point where it's like, hey, you know what, like, why don't we just start off with $30 a month? And this is like when I was in college. So a college student, $30 is, you know.
Yeah, that's like fucking make it rain. Buy 1 lap dance.
I know, dude. And I just started off with something really small. And as I was doing it for $30 a month, I realized, you know, a few months later, I just kind of reevaluated, like, like, oh, this is actually worth more than that.
I think you're definitely right. Like a lot of things that we get for free or we take for free, we don't really take it seriously. And I think it's great that you actually realize that, you know, payment is a form of commitment, and people start taking it seriously. And it's great that you're benefiting, but it's also from what I'm hearing, your clients like really benefit because they actually get the results that they want and stuff.
Yeah.
When you're creating your like service and stuff, how did you figure out what differentiated you as a coach versus other coaches? You know, because there's a lot of different coaches out there.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I had a coach too, so I still have a coach now. His name's Tyler Yasuda.
Yeah.
I had realized that, you know, Tyler Yasuda is an amazing coach for someone like me. But I felt like Tyler, I mean, this is not even like shit talking, it's just being, you know, real. Tyler can't service everybody and all types of personalities.
Yeah.
And I had felt like I'm just very good at breaking things down and to be very easy and simple. And so at many times people don't want to lose weight or diet down because they say, oh, I don't have time, or it's too complex, or I just can't break it down myself. I'd be able to explain it much easier. And I just thought, yeah, like, I think I can cater towards the general population, which is the, you know, more heavy anyways. And so my demographic was quickly created, and I felt like, okay, like, this is how I'm going to be different. I'm going to be more personal. I'm going to be more of like a friend, and people are going to feel comfortable through this process.
Yeah. I think that's a great balance of you. Like, one thing that I've realized over the years is that you have your moments where you're hella funny, but you can be hella serious. You know, you can be like authoritative if you need to be that. And it's not like you do this. It's like really out of love. I can tell, you know, because you really do stand for people like when they need it. And so that's one thing I always looked at, like, admired about you actually as a coach. So how did you go from like doing this sort of as maybe have a few clients to actually wanting to go full time? And real question is, why did you leave Barbell?
That's a good question. That's kind of a hot topic.
Yeah.
Like again, like, long story short, I think I just didn't necessarily agree with the direction that Barbell was headed. And that's just not like it's not a personal thing. I just felt like, dang, like, you know, I've been here since day one, and, you know, we've always been about, you know, this gym culture. And I just didn't feel like the directions that we're headed were really embodying that or really supporting that. And at the same time, I was just like surrounded by like a great community who really believed in me and thought, you know, Sarah, like, why don't you just pour your efforts into what you believe entirely? And I just never thought about it. I never thought that, you know what, like, why don't I invest in myself, and why don't I give myself a chance? Yeah.
I think one of my favorite books, if I can find it, but it's titled What Got You Here Won't Get You There. That's one of my favorite books. It's actually by a really famous life coach and stuff. But I think that's a huge thing. Like, you realized at that point where what I hear from you is that what got you on this journey isn't what's going to get you on to the next step. And you just took the leap of faith, which I really admire you for, because I'm just like, fuck, man. I don't know. Like, it's scary, man. Yeah. It's scary, like, going after your own clients and really really building that lifestyle for yourself, you know? So
Yeah, I think what helped a lot was, my father, he's not your typical like Korean dad. And so
what's a typical Korean dad like?
Emotionless,
Yeah.
very tough,
Yeah.
very cold,
Yeah.
very goal oriented
Yeah.
and not personal. And so I grew up with a father who was very open about like how he didn't pursue his passion. And he's like, dude, if I could go back in time, I'd at least try it. And I think he looked into my life and was like, Serro, like, even if you're broke for a few years, he goes, in a grand scheme of things, when you're 50, 60, like, what's a year? What's 2 years? What's 3 years? And for me, I think that really resonated with me because I've always been playing life by the rules. And I just thought, dude, like, I've never, ever, ever, like, fully gone out. And, like, grinded and worked for myself.
I see. Yeah, I think you're definitely right. Like, especially with school, like for me, I've always wanted to like go the fastest path as possible and stuff like that. But you realize when you're all done with it, you realize like, dude, what's the extra 1 or 2 years if I could have taken the time to really sort of try the things that, that I always wanted to do rather than what society tells me what to do or my parents or whatever,
Yeah. I have like 2 good friends that I always bring up in these conversations.
Yeah.
One is actually my coach.
Yeah.
He actually put on his Instagram, he's like, okay, so let's say you go to college. Let's say you go to public school.
Yeah.
And you end up paying $20K a year. And let's say you finish in 4 years. And technically that's an $80K investment for a job, right? Yeah. But most of us put an $80K investment for a job that we don't know like what we want or like we have no idea what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So we invest $80,000 and kind of just bite our nails afterwards and like, like not really sure what to do. And I have a lot of friends that like, this is a white friend. He took a year off after high school. He traveled and then just started working part-time at a bunch of places to kind of like really see like, okay, if I want to do kinesiology and I have to go to grad school afterwards, like I want to see like what my 8 years of school is going to.
Yeah.
And he just went there first, started working at a hospital and was like, oh shit, yeah, I like this. So now I'm going to go back to school.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a reverse way of thinking.
Yeah. I would probably like going back in time. I would probably do the same thing, thinking about it rather than rushing through everything, But one thing that I really like about that story is because your friend, he actually took a lot of responsibility for creating his own like learning and stuff. Sometimes like, wait, did you go to college? I forgot.
Yeah,
you went to college, right?
Yeah.
And so like, first day they plop all the shit on the table. They tell you what to do rather than going the other way where you're like, oh shit, I want to create my own syllabus or I want to create my own experiences where I can learn and whatnot. So I really admire your friend a lot about that.
Yeah, and I thought he was crazy.
You thought he was crazy?
Yeah. At the time, I was like, dude, I'm going to school. Like,
yeah.
But all in all, like, for him, he was like, dude, I don't want to build debt that is going to be like unhelpful or useless.
Yeah.
And so
I think that's really hard too. Like, especially with people like me who did like a whole grad program and stuff. It's really scary going the entrepreneur route and with all that debt looming over your head too. I think that's the number one barriers as well. Yeah.
Just like being unable to like pay that out or make as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you left Barbell to pursue your own coaching and stuff, one of the things that you introduced in my life was actually the cult, aka Choice.
Yep.
But I think that cult or that, even though I had like negative connotations about it, that program really changed my life. And I was just curious about some of your experiences from joining like a culty like program and all that and all the benefits you got from that.
Yeah, I do want to state and share. I don't think Choice is a cult, although I always joke about it.
Yeah. And
most people that experienced me or have read about it think it's a cult.
Yeah.
However, I think, one of the best things I've experienced is Choice. And the reason why, you're kind of put in a setting where you're unfamiliar, really just like you're kind of forced to be very introspective, and you really just have like a clear perspective on your life, like your mistakes, kind of like your biggest regrets in life. And I don't think you could ever get that elsewhere. And
that's very true.
And I had a very clear perspective as to why I'm not doing the things that I'm doing. And I just kind of thought, oh, well, that's fucking dumb. I should really just give it a shot.
Yeah.
And for me, the biggest thing that I learned was I'm so scared of failure, but I haven't really failed in anything. I'm just so scared. And I think the biggest thing that I learned was like, well, if I do fail, like at least I'll know like what's not working.
Yeah.
Instead of staying in fear and not even failing at all.
Yeah. I think that's was so funny. Like right after I went through it and stuff, I realized the same thing about myself, that I'm so scared of failing. I'm so scared of like having this, like, I always wanted this like sort of perfect image or standards of perfection, as we call it, right? But that was keeping me back from so many things, like really taking my business seriously, to like my relationships. Like there was a reason why I was so scared for the longest time that I couldn't approach girls and stuff like that. And I think one of the most valuable things for me after coming out through that was really repairing my relationship with my father and my whole family, and having more genuine relationships, you know? Yeah. And I like, dude, I have to thank you so much for that, because
thanks.
I don't think I think for me, like, I would never got that chance if I didn't go through that, you know, despite all my objections and stuff like that, you know? So
yeah, Kevin's a crazy badass. I give a lot of props to you. I think really like I think Kevin trusted me, and I think that's something I'm very blessed with. And I mean, people that are watching this probably have no idea like what we're talking about or like what bush we're beating around. But I do want to share that, like despite what Kevin had read about and just kind of heard through, like, I guess the noise of the world, Kevin just kind of trusted his own heart, his own instinct. Stuff that we're talking about now. And Kevin ended up going to the program, and I think what the fuck? I'm like, oh shoot, like your experience, you chose it, you were never forced to do it.
Totally my choice. You're right.
And I think that's how life should be. If anyone is going to take a risk or jump and do their own business, I think it has to be kind of at their own time and at their own pace.
I think also for me, like I did trust you. When when we were at the coffee shop, we actually shot a vlog that day. I posted it up. But when we were at the coffee shop, I saw how alive you felt and stuff, and I was like, shit, man, I haven't felt like that's what I want for the longest time. Like, I thought I was open, I thought I was all these things, but I really wasn't. And even though like I went on Google and stuff, did research, like, dude, I'm a pharmacist, I can do fucking research, right? But you know, like after doing all that research, even if all those things were true, there's something that you can always take from that, you know, like despite what other people think, like you can always learn from every experience. And the only cost to me was just like some money and, you know, my time. But if it could get me that much more, make me feel alive and that much more fulfilled in life, then fuck it. Then what is a few dollars, you know? So that's the mentality I went through.
The real homie.
Well, like, dude, and I give you a lot of props, because it's really tough, like going up to your friends one at a time and just like taking a stand for them, and really kind of, I don't want to say pitching them that program, but really like despite all that negative connotation, really like advocating for it and speaking about how it changed your life, you know?
I think that was the hardest part. It was just, you know, talking to my friends about it. And I think if people have never heard of Choice, I think the biggest negative connotation is, like they force you to recruit people. For me, like I was just so like blessed by the program that Kevin, like as soon as I was done with it, I called you because I thought of you, and I'm like, bro, like I think you'll like really dig this shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, for my friends, and I was just extremely open about it, and I honestly like just really fell in love, and I really believed in the program, and I just thought, hey, like if I benefited from this much, I'm sure a friend would as well.
Yeah.
And I ended up inviting like 6 friends that went.
Dude, we all went together.
Yeah. And I think it, each individual was pretty impacted by it in, such a great way.
Yeah.
So.
All of us were very appreciative that you like sort of, pushed us to go and whatnot, like I remember a few of us, we were like, fuck, like we were thinking about pulling out last minute and stuff like that. But I'm glad that we got to go together because we really got to like be a group and support each other, even when we're having doubts about stuff,
Yeah.
So like you go through this program, you start taking you go through this program, and then you start your own, you left Barbell, you start your own coaching thing, and then you also like you also decide to get married, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And you're like, for y'all that don't know, Serro's hella young. He's like 25 years old. And so I was like, damn, dude, like what did you realize through that program or through your experiences that you wanted to marry your girlfriend?
That's a good question. Man, dang, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I think, just with like pursuing passion and, this fear of failure, I think I had to be honest with myself. Dating my girlfriend, Renee, at the time, she's perfect. She's an amazing woman who's like smart. She works really hard. Our values align, but I had built like this wall, and I really was pushing her away. And, she had thought like, oh, maybe it kind of has to do with, Serro like going through his dad's death, or, he's just really guarded. But I think for me, like, just so naturally, like I've built so many walls where I didn't really let, especially like my girlfriend, into my, heart and into my life.
Yeah.
And I realized that, through choice, that it was just really stemmed from rejection. It was stemmed from past hurt. And in a sense, it was kind of like fucked up for Renee to have to deal with that when she had nothing to do with my past.
Yeah.
And I think this might not apply to everybody, but I kind of felt like, wow, like, why am I letting my past dictate what relationship I will have today with someone that wasn't even like in my past? And I had thought, you know what, I just need to be open, and I just need to fully give myself to Renee to even give this the best shot.
Yeah.
And after that, like, I had just realized, oh my God, like there's a huge gap in our relationship that I didn't really take advantage of. And I just kind of knew at that point, like, if I could have a good relationship with you for a year and a half by going like 70%, I'm pretty sure like I can marry you.
Yeah.
Don't do that with every girl, guys.
Dude, that's pretty amazing. It sounded like just like how you're talking about like paying money makes you take it a lot more seriously.
Yeah.
Sounds like getting married made you take the relationship a lot more seriously,
Yeah. Like it's like having skin in the game.
Yeah.
It's like I could give you all this Bitcoin advice.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean shit unless I have the Bitcoin. unless I'm putting in $1,000, then my words are value. Like if I'm not like in it, how the hell am I gonna give you advice?
Yeah.
If I'm not in my relationship, like fully committed or taking risk, like how would it ever grow?
Yeah. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you realize that, a lot of the habits when you're like 9 years old were carrying into your 25-year-old life, and how you just decide to take responsibility and just start making that active choice not to bring that shit into the new relationship and probably repair some of it too.
Yep.
Yeah. Quick question. Like, so we've talked a lot about like personal development. We talked a lot about Barbell. We talked a lot about coaching, but what even got you into the whole fitness game, man?
The chicks. Yeah. I think, I don't know. Like I rarely know of any guys that lift because they like lifting. I think for me, it was just, I don't know, maybe since I was a kid, I've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger on TV. It's just like, that's the picture of a man.
Yeah. You even had like that series Becoming Arnold and stuff like on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. It was just a funny concept. And Yeah, honestly, like I mean, I even thought this in college.
Yeah.
This is like 4 years ago. I legitimately thought, dude, if I'm jacked, all these girls are gonna line up. That was like my actual train of thought.
To be fair though, I think every guy thinks that, you know, like for me, like I started lifting when was freaking single. No one wanted to date me and shit. So I was like, maybe if I like get in shape and stuff, people will actually like me and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I feel you on that. But
Dude, you're a strong person for owning that. Many guys won't own that. They're like, oh no, dude, I love the burn. No, you don't, fool. You want the girls.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, you started initially doing it for the girls, and then what happened? Like I sense that there was some sort of transformation.
Yeah,
something.
I think as I underwent like the physical transformation of like losing 20 pounds, having a six pack, like I've never seen that in my life.
How were you before? Like
I weighed like 209. I weigh like 188 right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was chubbier. I wasn't like fat, but I was just chubbier.
Yeah.
And when I like put all the effort into like transforming my body, I realized that, oh my God, nobody gives a shit. Like nobody gives a shit about this. And it was kind of like an aha moment where I realized that, damn, like, I might not be getting the girls that I want or any girls in general because like, I'm just not a beautiful person inside, or I don't value myself.
Did you have a specific moment where you realized that?
It was like a few episodes.
Yeah.
Like it was, first episode was I'm jacked. Second episode was, okay, how come nobody notices except for the dudes? And then it just slowly progressed into like, oh shit, like, you know, I think it has a lot to do with how I carry myself and the energy that I'm giving, like just from talking to people. And yeah, like this is a totally random story, but I knew this girl. Yeah, she was like at my church, and she was super cute. And she started asking me random questions about like powerlifting. And I was like so embarrassed and shy.
Really?
Yeah. I was just like, she was literally asking me, oh, like, so what's like the most you ever squatted? And for me, like, I was so like not confident in who I was, the things that I was doing. So I really shied away from the question. And not that she was like into me or like she wanted my D or anything like that. It just realized like, oh my gosh, like I was really in a place in my life where I could even be proud of the things that I was doing. And that probably showed in like all aspects of my life.
Yeah. I think definitely for me too, like there's been like I've been telling the story that like to myself that I'm never good enough, I'm not attractive and stuff like that. But recently when I went back to the cult and took a relationships class, I realized all that shit isn't true, and we always have the choice to sort of rewrite that story about ourselves, you know. After a while, like I didn't even have to pick up girls, like I just started, you know, like letting myself be imperfect, be who I am and shit. I know it sounds corny as fuck, but well, yeah, really, like if like sometimes like personal development shit sounds really corny when you talk about it. But for me, there's nothing like that experience, like when I didn't even have to try. People just liked me for who I was. And yeah, it was just an amazing feeling, man.
Yeah. I think one of the things that you're reminding me of is through all like the cheesy lines, I think you just finally experienced like what you're experiencing. Yeah. You know, you don't have to put a front, you don't have to put like a mask. Yeah. And I think something about just really owning who you are and accepting who you are just shows in confidence. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Like being imperfect. I think there's something so special about that and owning it. Like if you guys know our homie Churro, he's like the perfect example of that. Like he just owns it. Like if he's late or if he fucked up on something, he just so authentic and just be like, hey man, like I fucked up and I'm sorry. Yeah. And there's so much attraction in that. Like, oh fuck. Like you're not trying to bullshit or trying to create a story. Yeah. You just were being honest.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about Churro is just because he like completely owns everything. He owned that palabra thing, like that palabra movement. I was like, damn, you know, and there's something so genuine and charismatic about him that you're just like really attracted to him and you feel very like comfortable around that, you know? And I feel like there's always those people in life who kind of like put up a mask and stuff, and how it makes me feel is also very uncomfortable and hella awkward, you know? And actually coming back from Choice, I realized that like a lot of my friendships just dissolved all of a sudden because I just saw that truth. Like I was like, I don't want to be in a relationship like this. I don't feel like I feel this awkward tension where it doesn't need to be, you know? And so did that happen to you with any of your friendships and whatnot?
Yeah. I again, so I think this is something that I've really learned, and just, 6 months being away from the program. And I think one of the biggest faults that I made was I put a lot of my relationships on the line. Like it's almost like I call them and I'm like, are you in or are you out? Type of like feel and vibe. And I'm very blessed that like my ride or die friends were just kind of like, oh dude, you know what? Like I totally understand where you're coming from. Like just give me some time. And like, and again, like when I look back, I'm like, oh shit, like I did come off like super hot-headed and like just kind of like almost like demanding like a new friendship.
Yeah, but you're still like, after you come out, you're so supercharged and shit, But it's kind of like so what I've been learning about like online business launches and stuff like that is that just because someone's interested doesn't mean they'll buy. And the second thing is like sometimes you need a little foreplay before you go balls deep in,
Sure.
And some people aren't ready at that point.
Yeah.
But it's great that you realize that and stuff.
Yeah, I think like the question was like, did I have a lot of friends that I like disbanded from? I think so. Yeah. Like I think a lot of friends like don't want to take our friendship or relationship like to the next level. And in my like putting myself in their shoes, I like totally understand. We've been friends like this for like 10 years. Like why do we have to change things? And so at first like I was very hurt by it, but at the same time I realized, oh shit, like it is kind of like weird for me to just show up and want something different too. So I totally get it.
And I don't think like from my friends' point of views and stuff, like I don't think it was they're a bad person for not wanting the same thing or anything like that. But it's just like at this point in life, we're just very different people, So that's what I realized. And it's kind of like showing that true reflection of your friendship and being like, oh shit, like if we can't talk about the deepest subjects or the things that really affect me or like, it's honestly probably not a really good friendship for me. It's not good or bad, just the way it is.
Yeah. I think what I'm hearing from you sharing is just like, you just know who your ride or dies are.
Yeah, that's true.
You only need like 5 of them. Yeah, really.
Yeah. I think that's like, for most of my life, I always thought like more friends, especially social media and stuff. You want to have a big deal on social media and be popular and stuff. But I realized that, it's not about the size of the D, man. It's about like the real quality of it, quality of friends. And honestly, right now, I'm so blessed. Like I might not have the biggest YouTube channel or anything like that, but it's the most rewarding feeling when I open up my chat and I do a live stream and everybody knows each other. They're really friendly toward each other.
Send nudes. I'm kidding.
What more can I ask for?
Yeah.
And I'm truly blessed to have those relationships in life and whatnot. Other than choice and whatnot, was there any other like resources, people, things that really changed or helped you on this path of self-improvement?
Yeah, I think my wife and my brother, both completely opposite of my personality, and they were the most supportive of me wanting to be different or not be different, but just improve. And I think at many times like people talk about like, hey, what should I do with like my poisonous friend or toxic friend? I'm pretty cold-hearted. I think people should cut them out. Like if someone is like negatively affecting you and it's like really altering your decisions to do something that's not of your own heart and decision. And so like my brother and my wife were just really great people that really supported what I wanted. And I think at the same time, like Renee and my brother were both people that understood that and have experienced something that they've regretted, something that they haven't fully done, and it just kind of haunts you. So they were just like, dude, go with it. What's the worst case scenario?
I think that's having those supportive people in life is so important, man. Like I don't know if you go through the same problem, but I go through a problem where I don't ask for help from people. I just try to do everything myself. But then what happens? I get burnt out, or get frustrated, or I just like give up, because I don't have enough help. But it's really great. Like I thought you were gonna mention like a book or something like that, but first thing you mentioned was the people behind you. You know, so that's really cool, man.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because we're Asian, but Asian men, like we don't say, we don't address it. We don't address like, and we wear our emotions on our sleeves, and it's like so obvious that we're like going through something, but we just try to deal with it on our own.
Yeah.
And I think we have this understanding that if we tell people, like our close friends, how we feel, like we're a burden to them, but all they want to know is what we're actually going through.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times I've realized telling someone something, I don't do it so that I can get a solution, but of me just sharing and speaking out loud like this is a form of like reflection, and it's actually very therapeutic and helpful.
Yeah.
And so I totally feel you.
Yeah, I think a lot of time, like the problems that we have in life, if you give yourself the space to just talk, you suddenly like it's a form of coaching, basically. Like when you're given the space to just talk and someone just listens, you come up with, like for me, I come up with the most creative solutions or most like impactful realizations. Just talking over and over again. Yeah, but like you're a coach. Does that ever happen in your client calls? I know you're really like focused on fitness and stuff, but does it spread into other areas of their life and whatnot?
Yeah, actually, I think it's kind of interesting. Like I think more of my conversation should be focused on fitness.
Yeah.
In my phone calls, but I think we get pretty personal. Some of my clients are very open, and as I am as well. Some people ask me about my marriage. Some people ask me about how I got to coaching, and sometimes a lot of clients will share like, they're starting this program because there's like a lack of confidence.
Yeah.
There's a lack of like self-love.
Mm-hmm.
And that just opens doors to like so many different conversations and topics.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very blessed that, I had a client who told me that, he's, dealt with like the thoughts of suicide.
Yeah.
And I think although I don't have the solutions, but for him to just even vent and share those things, like I was actually able to refer him to Choice. I said, hey, you should just check it out. It was very helpful for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it opens doors.
Yeah.
In those conversations.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm blanking out right now.
No worries. You can edit this.
Yeah, I'll edit this out. Do you notice any patterns like with your clients of coaching and whatnot? Like, are they mostly Asian men? Are they most like what sort of problems that they go through? Like a common trait, or are they a lot like you?
That's a good question. A pattern. I do want to say, whether they're female, male, Hispanic, white or Asian, I think a lot of people actually have a hard time stating to their friends or coworkers or family that, hey, I'm on a diet. There's so much shame and guilt behind that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times I'm like coaching on how to phrase that, hey, you know what? Like I actually can't eat there for dinner. And so clients will come back to me like they're already feeling super guilty, like, dude, like I overate this. And I just simply ask, like, it sounds like a dumb question, like, oh, like, did you let them know that like you're dieting? Like, no, I couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't bring it up.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times, like, I'm like helping them present like a choice that they've made in their life and to be vulnerable. And I've had a client that couldn't tell their family that like they're tracking.
What's the barrier behind that?
I think a lot of it has to do with like judgment. Like there's judgment in the fact that you want to physically change. There's judgment in the fact that you're doing something not normal.
Yeah.
And people don't want to be judged. They want to be accepted. So any tension, they'll avoid it at all costs. So even with like, dude, all my friends always want to eat at this one place and I can't track it and I can't say anything. And I just simply ask, like, hey, like, have you ever thought about group texting them like a day before saying, hey, like, can we try this place?
Yeah.
And just saying, hey, there's stuff that you guys can get and I can get.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
And people really hate conflict.
Yeah. That like and one thing I really admire about that is like really empowering people to actually take control of it rather than be passive and then kind of like, I think a lot of times like you can feel very trapped in a situation, but when you realize that you actually have have control over a situation, it empowers you a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I think that's great. Even though you coach through diet and whatnot, you really coach them through life actually.
Yeah. It's a lot of like psychology and a lot of cultural like like I guess like reshaping cultural like boundaries and like social norms.
Yeah. You mentioned like that avoiding conflict type of barrier that people have, like not being able to tell people that I'm tracking right now and I can't eat there. Do you notice any other psychological barriers while dieting for a lot of your clients?
Psychological barriers. Yeah, I mean, this is just with the few clients that I've had, and that's just because like we're able to dive deeper into conversation. Some have even told me that like they don't actually believe that this process can work. And this is after like 2 months of doing it. And I think for them to verbalize that and to own it and understand that, like I actually don't believe in this process, it actually really shaped their actions. So because they don't believe in it, they won't follow through. Because they don't believe in it fully, they allow themselves to mess up. And so I think some of the barriers were actually their belief in the program,
like self-fulfilling prophecy type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh damn. So how do you help them like through that self-belief if they don't believe that they can do it? What can you do as a coach? I think I'm responsible for 50% of the relationship. Yeah.
That's what I own. I control that. And so with owning that, I'm as objective as possible. And I can be very emotional to connect with them.
Yeah.
But I just, refer back to like, hey, like, look at the trends here and wait, like it is working. I've had a girl client who dropped like 15 pounds in, I want to say 2.5 months, minimal adjustments, just getting back into being active.
Yeah.
After 15 pounds, she still feels like I can't lose weight.
Yeah.
I'm like, you lost 15 pounds.
Yeah.
How is this not going to work?
Yeah.
But I think just owning it and understanding that this can work, in a sense, like maybe it has to do with responsibility and ownership, because once you fully believe in it, it all counts now.
Yeah.
All your actions matter.
Yeah.
But when you don't believe in it, you can be like, oh, well, it's the program. It's easy to blame something else.
Oh, that's very true. Like victim mentality and stuff. I think that's really easy to default on.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes too, like when you're dieting, because for me, I struggled with dieting for so freaking long. Until I had like pre-hypertension. That scared the fuck out of me, man.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was on borderline of having high blood pressure. I was like, I do not want to go on meds and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like there's that fear of like mortality that really pushed me, but it's also like making it fun again.
Yeah.
Like for the first month, I was just like, well, I want to try a keto diet. How can I make a keto diet as fun as possible?
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck it. Can I create a diet based off In-N-Out for like a month or so?
Yeah.
And that actually really got me into keto.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like shifting into like fun rather than taking everything so seriously sometimes is actually a good way to kind of get out of that type of thing.
Absolutely. I think, I have a lot of clients that I check in with that tell me that, oh my gosh, like the gym and dieting has brought me so much stress.
Yeah.
And I have to remind them that like, hey, like, working out and like dieting is actually like a stress reliever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, what do we need to do in order to shift that perspective again?
Yeah.
And a client told me, well, I feel like having like a program inside the gym, it makes me feel like I'm like in class or I have to do these things. And I just said, hey, you know what? Like, fuck it. Let's take that out. You do your own thing. You just tell me what you did.
Yeah.
And like, let's make you feel good about this process.
Yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. Like, I was a nerd back in high school. So I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, Warcraft and stuff like that.
You're just Asian.
Yeah. I'm just Asian, right? But I was always really like very captivated by like RPGs and stuff like that. And I actually found this really cool app on my phone and whatnot, but it basically turns all that stuff into like RPG. So let's say you want to make, I don't know, like working out, going to a gym a habit.
Oh, cool.
It actually gives you experience points and all that.
Wow.
And turns into a game. And I think that's one thing I've been really kind of shifting my focus on. Like, yes, like I can be very deep, emotional stuff, but sometimes fuck it. You just want to have fun, man. And just like take things in the opposite direction too and be excited for shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
I think with what you're sharing, like, I think kind of like the biggest realizations that I've had is I always feel like life is always going to be like a linear like progression.
Yeah.
But like you said, you know, there's moments to be emotional. There's moments to be like amped. But I think there's sometimes like everything that you do, there's different seasons.
Yeah.
Like you said, what got you here is not going to get you there.
Yeah.
It's all like different. And I think, I don't know, like, again, I always blame it on this Asian thing, but I have this thought where like, dude, if I just get there, life's going to be chilling or life's going to be cruising. Yeah. If I get my college degree, I'm going to get that job and I'm going to be chilling. And I think, like so many of us do that, right? Like so many of my clients think, okay, if I lose that 20 pounds, I'm going to be good. But it's like, no, actually now you have to maintain it. Yeah. That's like another workload.
Yeah.
And all in all to say, I think, I think life is so dynamic. So many things change. There's so many different seasons. Yeah. And it's really just up to you to really adapt to it.
Yeah. That's actually a very interesting insight. I'm thinking about my own career and stuff. Like when I was in high school, I was like, okay, they ask you, what do you want to do for your career? So I was like, what makes, I go on like, I opened this like huge ass book and look at the top careers for like income and stuff. Yeah. First I want to be an engineer, then I want to do pharmacy. Yeah. So I was like, great, I'll do pharmacy. When I do pharmacy, I'll be Gucci. I'll be set for life and shit. But it's so funny when I walk across the stage, grab my diploma, and I actually start working, I was like, fuck, this is not what I want to do, man. This is not what I signed up for. I thought everything would be great once I hit that goal. But, and you know what's so crazy? While I was pursuing pharmacy, I was actually very happy being on the journey, you know? And I think sometimes we think that once we get here, everything will be good. But it's actually in the process where we feel like very empowered. It's part of like the thing that makes life exciting for us, because we know that we have a direction where we're moving toward it, and it's exciting like when we're gonna wake up to hit that goal.
There's so much power in what you're saying. I think the way that I've been sharing that is actually the power and joy is actually in the present. Right. But so many of us focus on our fucked up past. Or like we give that so much power, or we like fantasize about this like future, like, oh my gosh, like when I get this pharmacy job, I want to be Gucci, I'm gonna be so rich, life's gonna be so fun. And when we get there, it's like, oh my God, like it's not what you imagined. And I think this is something I learned at Choice, and it's like, you know, stop giving so much power to like this future that it hasn't even happened yet, a past that's over. Like the only thing we can really control and really enjoy is now, right now. And I think we should always strive to be present. And
Joe Rogan, like I watch a lot of his podcasts and stuff, and he one good thing that he resonated with me was saying that you aren't the same person that you were 7 years ago. You know, you're not like, dude, are you the same person as you were like 25 versus when you're 5? No. You know, you're probably picking your boogers and fucking eating that shit, you know, but you're not the same person. And like you said, we give so much power to our past and stuff, our fucked up past. Maybe it's your dad who treated you like really shittily, or maybe a girl dumped you. But you gotta realize you can't let that like 8-year-old boy run your life anymore. You just gotta move on, right? So I think that's a great place to end.
Thanks.
I just want to thank you so much for taking the time today just to come over, and we got to hang out. I think that's one of the really cool things. Like, it gives us a chance to talk and just hang out, just like old times, man. Yeah.
If you're watching this, email Kevin if you have some serious problems. Kevin is the guy with all the answers. And I think Kevin won't ever judge you, but really just respond in a way of love and really empower you. And
Thank you,
I'm super blessed to be on this and to talk about our lives.
And as you guys know, New Year's is coming up. So I'm sure if you guys have any fitness questions or diet questions, please hit up Serro. Send him all your dick pics and stuff.
Let's go.
But I'll put all his info below. But anyways, Serro, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, brother.